Videos and photos are surfacing that appear to document deadly violence against protesters following Tanzania's disputed election of October 29th. President Samia Suluhu Hassan claimed victory with 98% of the vote. The official outcome sparked widespread protests during which government security forces killed hundreds of people, according to the opposition. DW's Sella Oneko went through some of the footage, and a warning to all our viewers: this report contains content that you may find disturbing.
This was October 29th in Dar es Salaam. The video from Election Day shows 3 people on the ground. We don't know whether they're dead or alive. Most images from Tanzania's biggest city, taken on October 29th and the day after, seem to be taken along these major roads where the biggest demonstrations took place. Tanzania's nationwide internet shutdown that week of the election means videos like these from news agencies are only emerging now. Like the social media videos, they show protesters seeking shelter. Some seem severely wounded. Some of the images journalists were able to take show armed men thought to be security forces in civilian clothes. Social media videos of shootings document a similar group. At a press conference in Nairobi, human rights advocates from Tanzania and Kenya showed these videos and many more. We couldn't verify them all, but some images showed bodies piled up in what appears to be a hospital setting.
I'm really saddened by the mass killings. The photos we have seen here and others that we have been able to access of people piled up, dead bodies piled together without any dignity at all. It's really so terrible. Is it worth it? Is leadership worth so much killing, so much bloodshed?
Photos taken by a reporter show Tanzanian police carrying someone at the Kenyan-Tanzanian border. Another image from Dar es Salaam shows protesters standing around somebody lying on the ground. Both had reportedly been shot. While more information about the protests and the violence by security forces is still to emerge, it's difficult to know how many people died. At her swearing-in ceremony, President Samia Suluhu Hassan spoke of the violence and the deaths, but didn't announce any action other than restoring security.
We are deeply saddened by the incidents of violence that led to the loss of lives and the destruction of public and private property. The National Defence Committee and the defence committees of provinces and districts must ensure that starting today, the lives of citizens return to normal immediately.
Tanzanian police have told people not to share the videos of the deaths, and they claim that foreigners were behind the protests. In Kenya, rights advocates urged African leaders to investigate abuses and to find better ways of dealing with public dissatisfaction.
They need really to ask themselves, how do we deal with this issue? And the answer is not just killing these young people. You have to somehow listen to them, provide for them. And when these governments are unable to manage their countries, they therefore believe that the easier way to do is just to be autocratic.
Before the election, rights groups documented the arrests and disappearance of government critics. The main opposition party, Chadema, was barred from running, and its leaders are currently behind bars. As internet restrictions lift, many Tanzanians are paying tribute online to those who died, and Dar es Salaam's streets are slowly filling up again.
And we can now speak to Sella Oneko in Nairobi, who filed that report. Sella, it's a terribly complex picture, only slowly emerging. What more do we actually know about what happened in Tanzania?
Yes, well, the images that are coming out, we couldn't show a lot of them because we are just not sure if where these videos come from and so on, because many of the rights groups who basically presented the videos to us and presented the pictures to us said that they weren't able to reveal the origins of the videos, partly because they had to protect their sources. But what we do know is that in Dar es Salaam we have lots of images from Dar es Salaam. And there were also journalists on the ground. So there we can kind of see in which areas
the protests and also the shootings and so on took place. We also know that from the first days, from the 29th and 30th last week, we know that there were reports of shooting at night, which people living in Dar es Salaam told us about, and we know that there were also protests around the country, but there's just less information from those protests.
Authorities have denied large-scale killings and have warned people not to share videos online. How are people reacting to that from what you have been able to assess from across the border in Kenya?
Yes, so I mean, the internet is back since Monday, but it's still scanty in parts, and platforms like X are restricted. So that means that a lot of the things that are going on there are still, that are being posted there are still coming from the diaspora. There are people who are, people who know people who have died, who are posting things about that and saying, talking about, say that they're in mourning for those people. There are also people who kind of are expressing their sadness, their sorrow for what has been happening over the last week. But largely, Tanzanians are still. You saw a change in the activities online, but largely Tanzanians are still, I think, hesitant to express themselves because there is that fear and also that warning from the police. There have also been the press. Tanzanian press has also, for example, Citizen media in Tanzania has basically expressed that they have not abandoned Tanzanians. They want to continue reporting, but they said that they were also not able to report because of the internet shutdown and because their systems were shut down. So there is a lot of activity now online, but it's still very careful.
Let's walk back for a second. What exactly was it that sparked these protests, so we know?
Yeah, so what we saw also also from the images that we saw that a lot of young people, many young men especially, came to the streets, and it was actually a very spontaneous thing. There had been some online activity beforehand with people calling for a boycott of the election, but nobody really thought that many people would come out onto the streets. So that was quite a surprise to many. And what we must remember is that about 77% of the population in Tanzania are under the age of 35. So it's a very young population, and as is the case around the African continent, very many young people who maybe feel they don't have so many opportunities, but also what really sparked the protests was, in this case, the electoral process. So the fact that the opposition did not take part in this election, was not allowed to take part in this election. And so people felt they didn't have a choice at the ballot.
That was Sella Oneko reporting on events in Tanzania from Nairobi. Thank you so much for that update, Sella.